وأدعو الآن السيد جون إدوارد. في البداية أود أن أقدم نبذة تعريفية بسيطة عن السيد إدوارد، فهو خبير في أمن الطيران المدني. انضم السيد إدوارد إلى منظمة اتحاد النقل الجوي آياتا في العام 2006 كرئيس لأمن الشحن الجوي، وقضى أكثر من 30 سنة في صناعة النقل الجوي في عدة مجالات، منها مجال خدمة العملاء، إدارة المحطات، السلامة الأرضية، تأكيد الجودة والأمن. الآن أدعو السيد جون إدوارد للتفضل بإلقاء محاضرته.
Bottom. Sorry, can you? Which is the button? Just click. Sorry, click. Which one? Oh, okay. His Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'd like to also extend sincere thanks for the invitation for IATA to come and meet with you and discuss these important issues at this conference. Just a couple of words of introduction about IATA, the International Air Transport Association. We represent something in the order of 85% of the world's airlines, with the exceptions tending to be low-cost carriers and charter operators, because their business models don't tend to be conducive to the products and services that we offer. But our membership does include all cargo carriers, integrators, TNT, Federal Express, etc. So we have a very wide range of carriers across the board. To set the scene in terms of cargo security, the global context for this is that we have seen some important progress in recent years, but some of the fundamental challenges still very much exist. Previous speakers have referred to some of the challenges around security, airport security, in terms of securing the complete operation, the perimeter, challenges around harmonization, states recognizing each other's programs, and indeed the discussion between industry and states to agree what the priority issues are for improving the global security of the air cargo network. We've also seen that there is a very patchy set of regulations around the world. Many speakers have referred to ICAO Annex 17, which of course is the global baseline, if you will, but states have the sovereign right to require additional measures for their own countries, and that's good and appropriate, providing it doesn't make operating across borders and internationally unduly complex and difficult. So in terms of how IATA would like to see cargo security progressing, our vision is there should be an efficient, harmonized, multi-layered system. We've heard talk already this morning about the importance of supply chains. Indeed, for securing cargo at airports is largely undesirable because airport cargo facilities have not historically been designed for that purpose. There are some countries where the volumes of cargo are low, the complexities around trying to secure the supply chain are such that there is no feasible option. But where possible, we like to see the security measures moved upstream towards the originator of the cargo, and then make sure that the supply chain is secured through to the airport and loading onto the aircraft. How do we do this? There are a number of different elements. Obviously, we have the regulatory framework. We look to develop international standards, but also increasingly, as we have seen with passenger security, we are making better use of data and asking for it in advance. You know, when you travel, you're increasingly asked to provide details of your passport, of your travel booking, so that assessments can be made of you as an individual and how much you can be trusted. Administrator Pistol, in his opening remarks, talked a lot about moving to a pre-check system, and a similar approach with cargo is certainly desirable, so that you learn as much about where it's come from, the nature of the cargo, the type of characteristics, and how well it can be secured in the supply chain, and thereby you eliminate the need for individual airport screening. Of course, there is still a place for technology. As I've said, we can't always secure cargo other than at the airport, and where you do that, it's essential that you have the appropriate equipment and skills available to you. In terms of who should be securing the cargo, everybody, I think, has a responsibility for this activity. We like to see that the shipper, the packer, the company that manufactures the cargo secures it. Many companies do this already for other reasons, because of the value of their brand. They want to avoid theft, they want to avoid copying and on contraband, etc. So we have secure shippers. Where that's not possible, the freight forwarder can introduce screening capability that allows them to accept cargo from a number of different shippers and consolidate it into secure shipments. We have the regulated agent and known consignor regimes, which are well established and understood in some parts of the world and less so in others, but we are looking to see that expanded more across the globe so that it becomes the norm. There are and will always be categories of higher risk cargo that we know less about, cargo that is more difficult to secure, and clearly we need to have a higher level of attentiveness and rigor applied to securing and screening that cargo, as we do with differentiated passenger screening. Transshipment and indeed inbound cargo is increasingly a concern. More and more we are moving towards the situation where states and airlines need to be satisfied not only that cargo that they're uplifting out of their state is secure, but also cargo that's coming into their state and transshipping through it is also secure. So, of course, if you can't secure the origin of transshipment cargo, you need to put measures in place in the interim. But as the previous speaker discussed, with one-stop security of passenger screening, similar principles are required for cargo, because breaking it down at an intermediate point is very disruptive, it's very costly, it lends itself to damaging cargo, having it stolen, etc. So the same principles apply. So the answer, I think, is certainly not one size fits all. Increasingly, we've heard speakers talking about risk-based approaches, and we endorse that for cargo. We do need to make sure that we're relevant. We do need to make sure that requirements are proportionate to the threat, that they are sustainable, that they are operationally deliverable. I'm also indebted to the previous speaker who talked about the costs, because the cost of security is always a difficult subject. It doesn't mean, because we talk about costs, that we are also challenging the need for it, or indeed the need to do it properly. But as businesses, we need to make sure the measures are as efficient as they can possibly be, and that we mitigate those costs as much as possible. So we're looking to do that through the introduction of advanced electronic information, as I've discussed, through standards across the globe. We're looking to reduce the complexity of the process. Cargo is very different from passengers. Passengers tend to be, as people, we all have the same basic body structure. We all tend to carry the same sorts of personal belongings when we travel. Cargo is not the same. It's much more complex, it's much more diverse, but we need to find ways of reducing that complexity, at getting better at understanding where particular attention needs to be paid. And it's also important that airlines and airports speak with one voice. Okay. So we work quickly to help the industry understand and stakeholders understand the issues through various advocacy and education. I've talked already about advanced electronic information, and it's essential that we encourage the processes to be built on standardized requirements and data sets so that international carriers can have a single system to implement across their network. We also have a requirement for a standard security declaration. This is the declaration that tells the regulator, tells the stakeholders the information that's already known about a consignment, so they have an audit trail, and this audit trail can be used by regulators to satisfy themselves either that the proper procedures have been followed, or indeed to raise questions if the information is incomplete. One of the things that IATA has done over the last 6 or so years is to try and help with the development of cargo supply chain solutions through secure freight, which is a method of trying to standardize the requirements that take place at different parts of the process. And the ultimate vision is that we secure the whole of the supply chain through capacity building and helping the stakeholders to implement measures effectively. It's difficult to quantify the benefits, but nonetheless it's something that we're trying to do so that we can better understand where the costs are, but also how we improve security, how we make it easier for regulators to operate, reduce the amount of audit burden, etc. So we've built up a network of trials so that we can learn lessons about what works and what doesn't work. We've got a number of states engaged with us in doing this, and that's helping us to refine the process, and we're certainly very open to working with other states if they would like to engage in that. You've heard some mention already of the European Union requirements for advanced accreditation of cargo carriers carrying cargo into the EU, and IATA is working hard to develop a centre of excellence for that, and we have a number of measures in place to train independent validators. These are auditors who go out on behalf of member states from the EU to conduct audits of shippers and forwarders and of airports and provide the evidence that states need that the necessary measures are in place. This work has been approved by a number of EU member states and we're continuing to expand it so that we provide a wide and effective coverage of validators available to go out and complete these audits. We have, for those of you who are particularly interested, we have an awareness day in Dubai on the 16th of June. I don't know if you can all read it. There is a contact there on the screen for those of you who may wish to attend. But if you want to speak with me separately, I'll be more than happy to give you the information. Thanks very much indeed.